Listen up, you might want to sit for this one. Seriously. Hit pause on your group chat, turn down the TV, and steel yourself. Because what's about to drop is so chaotic, so scandal-dripping, so reality show ready, it could be a blockbuster script, except this time it's framed like an expose. Fans spent years thinking they had it all figured out. Glow-ups, healing arcs, perfectly staged smiles. But according to one unapologetically loud internet commentator, what we saw might have been nothing but a glossy highlight reel. Now, all of a sudden, names are floating around. Alleged affairs, alleged health crises, alleged on-camera disasters producers supposedly prayed you'd never see. And the one sounding the alarm? None other than Tasha K, claiming she's got puzzle pieces that flip the whole story upside down. Is this the ultimate digital bombshell or just another turn in the endless reality TV rumor carousel? Why are ancient clips making a comeback? Why are fans side-eyeing old reunion moments like detectives? And why does every allegedly land heavier than the last? Listen, even if a sliver of this spicy tea were real, nothing in this saga would ever look familiar again. The instant Tasha K's name hit the chat, the energy flipped. This wasn't some whisper in DMs or a fuzzy screenshot drifting through fan pages. Nope. This was loud. This was intentional. And according to Tasha, it was way overdue. She didn't roll up with just hot takes. She brought timelines, theories, and what she kept insisting were patterns that refused to lie. Allegedly, Tasha painted the scene as way bigger than a single mess-up. In her version, it was years of meticulously staged optics, hand-picked words, perfectly timed tears. Her commentary claimed the public face of Porsha Williams was polished, guarded, always evolving, while the behind-the-scenes version allegedly had layers fans never imagined. She hit rewind, old seasons, old interviews, past relationships once celebrated but now side-eyed in hindsight. Tasha pressed on why some friendships evaporated overnight, why certain storylines vanished without a word, and why others suddenly got repackaged as growth arcs. Coincidence, or full-blown narrative control? That was the hammer she kept dropping. Then came the bombshells that had viewers leaning forward, alleged overlapping relationships, alleged behind-the-scenes drama quietly managed while public smiles stayed pristine. Tasha wasn't pitching this as a love story. She framed it as power. Who knew what, who stayed silent, who cashed in on that silence, and who allegedly got stuck with fallout nobody wanted to admit. The commentary shifted darker when Tasha hinted at alleged health scares. No documents, no diagnoses, just insider chatter, hushed warnings, and off-camera conversations she claimed existed. In her telling, this wasn't just scandal, it was accountability. Allegedly, people were cornered into risky, awkward positions while the public got a totally different version. Fans didn't know what to believe, but they couldn't tear their eyes away. Social media exploded. Old clips resurfaced. Reunion fights suddenly seemed staged. Emotional meltdowns that once earned sympathy were now dissected as strategy. Fair or not, the lens had flipped. Then hit the moment that catapulted everything into full-blown chaos. Tasha mentioned an on-camera confrontation that, in her retelling, completely went off the rails. Raised voices, tension thick enough to cut, a situation allegedly spiraling so fast producers couldn't control it. She called it the exact moment the script fractured. In Tasha's account, this wasn't just anger. It was panic. The type that erupts when a story slips and the audience starts asking the dangerous questions. Security stepped in, shocked reactions everywhere, a room full of people realizing they weren't watching a staged scene anymore, but raw, unpredictable drama. What made it explode wasn't proof, it was believability. Fans had already noticed cracks. Tasha just slammed down on them. She framed herself not as a judge, but as a disruptor, someone ready to say what everyone else only whispered but never finished. By the time she wrapped her version, the audience was divided. Some called it reckless, others applauded the courage. But one thing was undeniable, the image they thought they knew had cracked. And once doubt sneaks in, it never slips out quietly. This story wasn't just about one person anymore. It became about perception, control, and the price of keeping a brand flawless at all costs. Allegedly, as the commentary spread, the internet did what it does best. It transformed speculation into a full-blown investigation. Fans weren't just watching, they were scrutinizing. Every old clip replayed in slow motion. Every reunion fight examined like courtroom evidence. Side eyes that once seemed playful now looked loaded. Pauses felt deliberate. Smiles looked scripted. In Tasha's telling, this wasn't about catching one lie. It was about exposing a system of silence. Allegedly, she claimed certain cast members knew more than they ever admitted on camera. Some stayed silent out of loyalty, others out of fear, and a few, she hinted, profited from the distraction while eyes stayed elsewhere. What really poured gasoline on this fire were the so-called anonymous insiders, voices with no faces, messages with no names, people who, according to Tasha, had nothing to gain and everything to lose. They described private hangouts that clashed with public timelines, conversations that contradicted official stories, moments quietly handled off-camera before hitting production meetings. Luxury. Also threaded through the story, allegedly lavish trips masked as work. Expensive gifts rationalized as friendship. Financial favors brushed off as coincidence. Tasha didn't directly accuse, she implied. And in internet drama, implication often shouts louder than proof. Public reactions split down the middle. Some called Tasha a clout chaser, reckless and harmful. Others argued she said what mainstream platforms were too timid to touch. Memes exploded across timelines. Think pieces sprouted overnight. Hashtags trended. Suddenly, everyone had hot takes. Meanwhile, silence from the heart of the storm only made the racket louder. No clear denials, no full explanations, just vague statements about misinformation and protecting peace. To some, that screamed maturity. To others, it looked like classic avoidance. Allegedly, Tasha leaned into it, asking why some stories were squashed aggressively while others were allowed to spiral. Who really controlled the narrative? Who decided what crossed the line? And why did accountability always feel selective? Then came whispers of fallout, alleged legal meetings, alleged emergency huddles, alleged brand partners watching like hawks, waiting to see how far this would go. Tasha painted it as a domino chain. Once the illusion cracked, everything built on it teetered. The scariest part wasn't the allegations themselves. It was how believable they felt to a fandom already trained for plot twists. Reality TV had taught viewers the real drama is always off camera. Tasha just cast herself as the narrator of that hidden chapter. Whether truth, exaggeration, or straight-up calculated chaos, one thing was crystal: the audience wasn't passive anymore. They were dissecting motives, rethinking loyalties, and realizing that in a world built on performance, authenticity is rarer than a calm reunion. And the tension? It wasn't fading, it was multiplying. By the time the dust settled, it was clear nothing was going back to normal. What began as commentary had morphed into a full-blown credibility war. Every glance, every pause, every carefully crafted post was now read as strategy. In Tasha's version, this wasn't damage control, it was survival mode. Industry insiders whispered about behind-the-scenes chaos. Allegedly, lawyers were consulted not to sue, but to gauge risk. Brand managers allegedly hit pause on campaigns. Producers allegedly rethought storylines that once seemed safe. Because once doubt creeps in, it doesn't leave quietly. It lingers. It spreads. It infects everything. Tasha framed the fallout as bigger than a single person. In her telling, this was about how reality TV manufactures truth. How images are polished, storylines shielded, and inconvenient moments quietly erased. She hinted the real scandal wasn't alleged hookups or hidden timelines, it was the system letting selective honesty run wild. Public opinion hardened. Fans argued nobody owes the public full transparency, that private lives deserve privacy. Critics fired back. When vulnerability is monetized, truth becomes part of the deal. The debate shifted from allegations to accountability. Then came the chilling point that flipped the tone entirely. Tasha asked why, in an industry known for lawsuits, no official legal salvo had emerged, no aggressive takedown, no point-by-point rebuttal, just restraint. To some, it screamed confidence. To others, caution. Allegedly, footage of on-camera chaos refused to vanish. Analysts replayed it non-stop. Body language. Experts weighed in. Fans dissected every reaction frame by frame. Was it provocation? Panic? Or the exact moment when pressure finally snapped a carefully curated persona? Tasha didn't claim victory. She didn't announce the final truth. Instead, she framed the saga as unresolved, a story on pause, not finished. She hinted more voices were deciding whether to speak, that NDAs only hold until they don't. That silence has an expiration date. What made it irreversible wasn't receipts, it was perception. Once the audience starts questioning everything, even innocence feels shaky. Trust, once fractured, doesn't explode loudly. It seeps away quietly, interview by interview, appearance by appearance. In the end, Tasha positioned the scandal as a warning. Fame rewards performance, but it punishes exposure. The higher the pedestal, the harder the fall. When cracks emerge, whether exaggerated, misunderstood, twisted, or partially true, the damage had already landed. The story didn't wrap with answers. It ended in unease, with fans split, narratives colliding, and the harsh reminder that in reality TV, truth isn't what you see on screen. It's what survives after the cameras stop rolling. And as the noise faded, one question lingered, heavier than any claim. If everything was fake, why did it feel so real? Now the real question isn't what was said. It's what happens next. Because when stories like this leak, they don't vanish. They evolve. They get louder. They drag more voices out of hiding. And whether you buy every allegation or doubt every word, one thing is clear. The silence after chaos is never accidental. Ask yourself this. If it was harmless, why did it explode this way? If nothing was real, why did reactions hit so raw? And if this was all just clout chasing, why does it still feel unfinished? This isn't about one person alone. It's about how reality TV sells truth in fragments. How vulnerability becomes currency. How storylines stay protected until they finally snap. And how the audience is always the last to see what was cut. Now it's your turn. Do you think this was exposure or exploitation? A long overdue reckoning or a carefully staged takedown? And most importantly, does the silence scream confidence or caution? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this saga won't move forward without public pressure. Read other takes. Challenge opinions. Defend your stance. That's how narratives evolve. If you're done with polished lies, controlled story arcs, and truth that only shows up when convenient, hit subscribe, because these conversations don't happen on cue cards. They happen when people stop looking away. Like this video if you think there's more under the surface. Share it if you believe the story isn't over yet. And stay tuned, because when silence breaks, it breaks loud. This wasn't closure.